Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RE-volv's 10-year celebration. We are so excited to have you here, and we really appreciate you taking the time to spend your evening with us. I am Sarah Cabell. I'm Director of Operations here at RE-volv, and I'm going to be introducing you to our scheduled events tonight and to the team, and then we'll pass it on to other team members. So I first want to thank our sponsors who helped make the 10-year event as well as our impact report possible. You'll be hearing more about our impact report later. Michael Spiegelman, New Sun Road, the Netta Nabari Foundation, the K Family Foundation, and Don Burke. Thank you all so very much for your support in helping make this event possible. So for tonight, we're going to first hear a welcome from the RE-volv board and the event host committee. We're going to hear an overview about RE-volv and hear from our team. You'll get to meet the team and hear about our new impact report that's coming out. You're going to view our 10-year highlight video. This is actually a brand new video. You're the first to see it, and we're really, really excited to share it with you. We're going to hear about our Solar Ambassador program, which is a major part of our program here at RE-volv, with a conversation with Allison Naganuma, who is a Solar Ambassador alumnus and now works in the industry. We're going to have a conversation with Reverend Ambrose Carroll from Green the Church and hear about our project, our solar project history and kind of accomplishments to date. And then we're going to hear an interview with Bill McKibben, founder of 350.org. And finally, we're going to close with a conversation with Francesca Vietor of the San Francisco Foundation. And with that, we're going to pass it over to the board and Maura McKnight. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Sarah, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to join us tonight. This is a huge milestone. My name is Maura McKnight. I'm the executive, in my day job, I'm the executive director of an organization based in San Francisco called the Business Council on Climate Change. And I've been on the board of directors for RE-volv since 2018. But I've had the honor of kind of being involved since the early days. I used to work at an organization some of you may know called Grid Alternatives. And so when I was at Grid, Andreas and I had a lot of interactions kind of in the early days of Grid and early days of RE-volv, just sharing stories and successes. And it's been an honor to watch RE-volv grow and achieve all that this organization has achieved in 10 years. So on behalf of the board, our entire board of directors, want to thank you all for coming. This is a huge milestone, as I said, and we would not be here without all of RE-volv's supporters. And there are so many amazing staff members and board members over the years, but also the ambassadors and folks that are part of the projects on the ground that spread the word in their community. So none of what we do would be possible without you in this really vibrant community. So we look forward to celebrating tonight and hopefully connecting with you all going forward. It's going to be a big year, 2022, coming off of a lot of recent successes. So thank you and welcome from the board.
Thank you so much, Maura. Really appreciate it. And now, do we have Danny Kennedy on the line? Are you there to welcome on behalf of the host committee? And if so, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Oh no. All right. It looks like we might not have Danny here yet. It's all good. We have an amazing list of folks who helped bring this group together. Danny Kennedy has been a long-term supporter, and hopefully we'll get to hear from him at some point. If not, no worries. But thank you on behalf of our host committee for helping make this event possible as well. And now we're going to hear from the RE-volv team. This is a chance for all of you to get to know who works at RE-volv currently. It's an amazing team. I'll start out by just saying, introducing myself again, Sarah Cabell. I'm Director of Operations. I've been here since May, and I help run the organization, handle kind of the finance and accounting side, as well as the solar finance side of things, and generally help with the day-to-day operations of the organization. Over to Andreas.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Andreas Corellis. I'm the founder and executive director of RE-volv. I wear a lot of hats here, and mostly I'm just super grateful to be able to work with these fine folks here on the team listed on this page.
Praz, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Prasanna Krishnan Praz, and I'm RE-volv's Solar Asset Manager, responsible for the ongoing operations and performance of our projects. I've known RE-volv for several years as a volunteer, board member, and now collaborator. So it's really nice to see the journey of the organization, and I'm very happy to be part of the team.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sean McGahey. I'm the Director of Solar Project Operations at RE-volv. I've been in the industry about 12 years, and I've been at RE-volv a little over a year and a half. And I'm responsible for managing our sales as well as our installations. And then I also work with our policy partners. Next up is Sydney.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everybody. My name is Sydney Munoz, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at RE-volv. I manage our Solar Ambassador program and our communications as well, and I'll hand it on over to Mark.
Thanks, Sydney. Hi, everyone. I'm Mark Soriano. I'm the software engineer at RE-volv. I mostly handle the website and also the technology side for the organization. And also, I'm excited for this event and nice to meet everybody.
Thanks so much, RE-volv team. I'm now going to hand it over to Andreas, who's going to tell you more about the organization.
Thanks, Sarah. And again, thanks everybody for coming tonight. This is a big milestone for us. It's a pretty exciting moment in an organization's life to hit 10 years. And many of you have been with us from the beginning. Many of you have been here and have seen RE-volv evolve over the years. And many of you might be here for the first time and might be just learning about us. So for those of you that are new, allow me to give you a quick overview of our work to help you better understand what we do. When I started RE-volv, it was out of a need that we have in America to bring clean energy solutions to the community level, to raise awareness about it at the community level, so that people can see it and feel it and understand that clean energy is here and that it's affordable and that it can benefit them. And by doing so, really change the narrative, the social, the political narrative that we have about climate change, which can be so disempowering. And ultimately, what RE-volv is trying to do is empower us in this fight, empower us with the solutions. And so we do that through three pillars of our work, what we call empower, invest, and educate. And the empowerment piece is really about giving people who care about climate change, who are looking to help drive clean energy solutions in their community, the tools they need to do that. And so this is primarily done through our Solar Ambassador Fellowship program. This is where we train volunteers from around the country. Oftentimes they're college students, but they don't have to be. They're also community volunteers of all ages. And we teach them the basics on how to help a local nonprofit go solar. So we teach them everything from solar policy to finance to how to demonstrate how to share a solar proposal with that local nonprofit. And really, they're their partner. They're a partner to the nonprofit throughout the process. The next piece is the investment piece. And this is where we provide 20-year solar financing for nonprofit organizations. So as many of you know, nonprofits, particularly the small community-based nonprofits that we work with, oftentimes frontline communities, are really without other options of financing their solar system. So most nonprofits face significant barriers to getting access to solar, and that's what RE-volv is trying to solve. So we're able to provide a 20-year zero down financing option for nonprofits so that they can go solar and start saving money right away on their electricity bills, so that they can put that back into their mission and at the same time demonstrate their commitment to clean energy to their community. And that really leads to the last pillar, which is educate. And this is really important. You know, one of the things that we've seen in the solar industry for many years is what's referred to as the seeding effect, or the sort of ripple effect of solar. And that basically means that when one solar installation goes in, more and more neighbors are able to adopt solar faster and faster based on that seed that was planted in that community. So to encourage that seeding effect, we run community engagement programs. We work with the media. We do social media campaigns. We do a lot of storytelling with photos and video. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is raise awareness in the community and get community members both to realize that they can go solar themselves and help them do that, as well as get involved with solar advocacy, clean energy, climate justice advocacy in their community. So tonight we are super thrilled to unveil our 10-year report. This document, you guys are the first ones that will see it. And you'll also be the first ones to receive it, which we'll be sending to you in a forthcoming email. So on the left is the cover, shining a light on the first 10 years of RE-volv. And on the right, we have our impact in a nutshell. Over 46 nonprofits at this point have been installed that benefit 51,000 members in the community. We've offset over 90,000 tons of carbon dioxide from being emitted into the atmosphere, which is equivalent to over 200 miles of automobiles not being driven. But really what stands out to me is, the 3 megawatts that we've installed required a $10 million investment that we were able to facilitate. But that $10 million investment created almost $20 million worth of savings for those nonprofits. And for those of you that know, small scale nonprofits, community-based nonprofits, especially in frontline communities, they need every dollar they can in order to accomplish their mission. And when we're able to save an additional $20 million for these nonprofits over the lifetime of their solar system, that translates into massive benefits to those community members and really creating a tremendous value to everybody who works in and around those nonprofits. And of course, none of this would be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. So in addition to the sponsors that supported this night and our 10-year report that Sarah mentioned earlier, this is a snapshot of the sponsors that have been supporting us over the last decade. This is in our 10-year report, which you'll get to look at closely. And again, I just, the expression is really true here that it takes a village, right? I mean, all of these folks have come together, foundations, corporations, individuals with grants big and small to support this work. And it's really because of that we're able to accomplish what it is that we have so far. I also want to thank our investors. So this is a bit of a pivot for us. Many of you have been with us since the crowdfunding days. When RE-volv started, we were a crowdfunding platform, and we raised money, $10, $15, $20 at a donation, and we raised that money together to install these solar projects for one nonprofit at a time. And I particularly want to call out Tri-Solaris, which was our first impact investor. Tri-Solaris came to us about 2 years ago with an idea of how we could scale by using impact investment dollars into building these solar projects at a much faster scale and at a much greater level. And it's through that partnership that we were able to deploy many millions of dollars. And that, of course, teed up other impact investors. And so now we receive impact investments from a number of avenues. These can come in the form of recoverable grants through donor advised funds. So for example, we've received recoverable grants from donor advised funds in Morgan Stanley, at Fidelity Charitable, and are now eligible to receive them from Vanguard, as well as program related investments from family foundations and from foundations like the R&R Family Foundation, as well as promissory notes from individuals who are interested in supporting this type of work. And so really the benefit of this is that there's a triple impact for the impact investor. So basically we have, an impact investor is able to, as opposed to a straight donation like our crowdfunding model was, they can both, fight climate change with clean energy, strengthen the community-based nonprofits through the additional savings that's created, and then they're returned their investments with some interest, which they're then able to re-grant. So you're actually having sort of 3 times the impact of a typical grant. And that's really helping us to scale tremendously now as well into the future. And next, we've done a lot of talking here about our impact. We're really excited to share with you all tonight a video that highlights our work in the field. You're going to see a lot of images here of the work that we do, the people who benefit from it, our volunteers, and particularly the nonprofits who are going solar with us and using those savings to better serve their constituents. So without further ado.
For decades, we've known about the incredible threats climate change poses to humanity and to our world. Now we're seeing the impacts with our own eyes, from devastating wildfires and hurricanes to droughts, floods, and heat waves affecting all of us in all corners of the globe. But there's another side of this story that we don't often hear. We already have the solutions we need to address the climate crisis. And people in communities across the country are working hard to make clean energy accessible to everyone. For the last 10 years, RE-volv has worked with volunteers, universities, and local partners to help community-serving nonprofits access clean, renewable energy, reducing carbon emissions and electricity bills in the process. Thanks to our partners, supporters, and volunteers, RE-volv has helped nearly 50 incredible nonprofits go solar, serving BIPOC communities, low-income communities, and the least fortunate among us. From North Philly to East Oakland to the south side of Chicago, from rural Wisconsin to Ohio to Colorado and South Carolina, these nonprofits provide critical services to their communities, addressing food security, affordable housing, mental health, education, workforce development, support for veterans, and more. With over $10 million of nonprofit solar projects financed through RE-volv, these organizations are now able to demonstrate their commitment to sustainability, avoid over 90,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions, and collectively save almost $20 million on their reduced electricity bills that can be put to better use serving those in need. This is our collective moment to take action on climate change. We invite you to join us by getting involved in our work, and together we can accelerate the transition to a just, clean energy-powered society, community by community, one nonprofit solar project at a time.
Well, hope you all enjoyed that video. I thank you all I see some reactions. Yeah, we just finished producing that video, so we're super excited about it. We don't even have it up on social yet, so we're gonna get that out, but wanted to share it all with you all first, and yeah, hope that you enjoyed that video. So next, I wanted to talk about our first pillar, which Andreas mentioned, which is empower. Our first pillar is empower, and it really talks about our Solar Ambassador program. And our Solar Ambassador program is a year-long fellowship opportunity for college students and community members where they are able to learn about solar energy, finance, and technology, and really help bring solar to a local nonprofit, while also helping to educate the community about the importance of solar energy. And since the program started in 2014, we've trained more than 375 solar ambassadors at 33 universities. And those solar ambassador teams have brought solar to 21 of our nonprofit projects, which is just really amazing work. And a lot of our solar ambassadors also end up having careers in the renewable energy field after graduation, which is something we're really proud about, and really help them set up for their next phase in their career. And so today I have the honor to have a conversation with Allison Naganuma, who is a Solar Ambassador Alumni from Swarthmore College and was also a team lead there, and is now an energy analyst at Integral Group. And so really excited to have Ali here tonight. And so thank you so much for being a Solar Ambassador and a Solar Ambassador Fellow. Yeah, I'd love to start the conversation off. If you could tell us a little bit about the two nonprofits that you helped go solar in Philadelphia.
Thanks, Sydney. It's really awesome to be here and very excited to be celebrating 10 whole years with RE-volv. So very excited. So in college, I was a member of an environmental justice nonprofit called Serenity Solar, which was a collaboration between Swarthmore College students and faculty, as well as North Philadelphia community members. And our goal with the nonprofit was to spread solar education, increase access to solar energy, and to train folks in North Philly for jobs in the solar industry. Our first project with RE-volv was for Serenity House, which was a community outreach center in North Philly, which offered support groups and a community garden, as well as many community events for the neighborhood. Some of our nonprofit's founding members were community leaders at Serenity House, and so this was a very natural fit for our first project, and also the inspiration for the name of our nonprofit. The second project with RE-volv was for the Village of Arts and Humanities, which is the largest provider of free arts, cultural, environmental, and social programs in North Philly. One of my favorite programs, just for a flavor of the kind of work that they do there, is called the People's Paper Co-op, which is an art and advocacy program led and designed for formerly incarcerated women who are in reentry, and is just a great kind of exercise that allows people to come in for annual expungement clinics and to actually get their records cleared of non-criminal offenses, and to be able to actually take that paper and make it into new recycled notebooks. It's just a really awesome program, and I think really just speaks volumes about the kind of work happening at that nonprofit.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you so much, Ali, for giving us an overview of those two nonprofits, and they sound like really amazing work that they're both doing. Yeah, I'd just love to know, what do you think that you and your team members learned throughout this process of helping these two nonprofits go solar?
For me, my biggest takeaway from both of these projects is that distributed solar energy is not only a tool for fighting climate change, but also has the power to unlock tremendous, immediate, and life-changing benefits for communities that are too often overlooked or explicitly prevented from participating in the clean energy economy. My work with Serenity Solar and RE-volv helped me realize my personal passion for energy justice and definitely continues to influence the kind of work that I'm looking to do in the future.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for that. And yeah, the last question that I wanted to ask you was, now that you're graduated from Swarthmore College and you're working as an analyst in the clean energy industry, just love if you could tell us a little bit more about your role and how being a Solar Ambassador Fellow and working on these 2 solar projects helped you as you began your career in the clean energy space.
Definitely. So I'm currently working at Integral Group, which is a deep green engineering consulting firm. And within Integral, I work for the Advanced Energy Services business unit, which specializes in analyzing, designing, and procuring microgrid, zero carbon, and resilience projects for mostly commercial and industrial clients. As the lead solar ambassador for the Village of Arts and Humanities projects, I gained a ton of hands-on experience leading a team of 10 students, managing multiple month-long timelines for the fundraising process, and coordinating a huge range of different stakeholders that were involved in the project. So a lot of those skills definitely were developed during a time when I was a sophomore in college and had not really had a lot of leadership opportunities to that degree before. And so that's definitely benefited me a lot in my current role. At the moment, at my current job, I'm serving as the project manager for a 2 megawatt solar and 6 megawatt hour battery procurement for a mall redevelopment in San Diego. And I definitely attribute a large portion of the project management, communication, and relationship building skills that I need to use every day, definitely back to my experiences with RE-volv in college. And one fun tidbit I wanted to share, I thought Andreas would like this as well, was I first learned about how power purchase agreements worked through RE-volv, many years ago, and I'm now actually supporting this current client with the mall redevelopment on their own PPA. So everything has really come full circle, and it's really cool to just see how far I've been able to come since that time. So big thank you to RE-volv and all of the work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ali. And yeah, thank you so much for your words today, and also just for your time and commitment as a solar ambassador at Swarthmore College, and for really helping lead the way for these 2 solar projects in Philadelphia. But yeah, thank you just so much for being here and for your time.
Thanks.
And with that, I wanted to pass it off to Sean, who will talk a little bit about our solar projects.
Thank you, Sydney, and thanks everyone for coming to our event tonight. We are very excited that you're here as we celebrate 10 years of impact. Working at a small nonprofit, it's very easy to get lost in the weeds and in the day-to-day, so it's really nice to be able to take a moment and look back at all that we have accomplished over the last 10 years. And none of this would be possible without our support, without your support. So big thank you to all our longtime supporters and new ones alike. So over the past 10 years, we have installed 46 solar projects for 3.3 megawatts of solar, and we have deployed over $10 million of projects. And that $10 million deployed has enabled our nonprofit partners to save over $20 million. And that is very significant, and that's significant money that they can reinvest into their programs, into the communities that they serve. In addition to building solar projects and providing savings to our nonprofit partners, we love telling the stories of the important work that our nonprofit partners are doing across the country. We are very fortunate to have Dr. Reverend Ambrose Carroll with us to speak about working with RE-volv. Pastor Carroll, are you there? If you can,
I'm
please
here.
introduce yourself. Thank you so much for your time. Could you please start with tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do at Green the Church?
Yeah, sure. And just, again, hats off, 10 years. I'm so excited to be here tonight. just, as we, talked and dreamed, 9 years ago or so when I met Andreas, and just the passion for the work and for the communities and for the big pictures, and just so excited. I mean, I remember when there were like 2.5 projects, and remember the students at Swarthmore and how they're now moving and matriculating. Time is on the move, and we're on the move with it. Green the Church was founded in 2010 to do 3 things: to amplify green theology, to promote sustainable practices, and to build power for political and economic change. So we work to answer the question, is the Black community, Black church community, interested in climate change and the environment and sustainability? And we came on the scene to say yes, and to tell these kind of stories with Reverend Curtis Robinson in deep East Oakland, putting solar panels on the church in one of the most difficult areas in our country. He's striving, Harvard guy, and in the trenches from Richmond, California. So again, that's Green the Church. Thanks.
That's great. And at RE-volv, we've been very fortunate to work with you over the years on helping bring solar to a few churches, including Faith Baptist in East Oakland and True Fellowship in North Richmond. Could you speak to a little bit how those churches have benefited from going solar, and how is it working with RE-volv?
Man, every time I see Dr. Robinson, he's talking about it. He's talking about the savings. He's talking about how it affects not only his financial bottom line, but how he's then able to take those funds and to put them into ministry. He has a vast food program, other things that he's doing for students and for seniors, and always, talking about it. And so when he talks about it in our conventions, in our local work, our ministers' unions, other pastors are talking about it, asking questions, seeing how they can be more sustainable.
That's beautiful to hear, and that really motivates the team. That's why we show up to work every day. So it's great to hear it firsthand. Moving forward, we're really excited about partnering with Green the Church and Interfaith Power and Light on a national campaign to bring solar to BIPOC communities across the country. How do you think that this partnership will benefit these communities and the broader clean energy and climate justice movement?
I think that these partnerships are able, again, to shine light, in our communities, whether it is solar, whether it is trying to power electric vehicles. A lot of these things are happening all around us, but not necessarily once you cross the tracks. And so I think there's great opportunity for natural investment. There's great opportunity to decentrify our energy grid. There's great opportunity for community engagement. And so again, very excited. Individuals like Martin Hertzfield is on the line tonight, one who works training individuals how to get on the roof and how to go through the process. So I think it's a part of what's happening in the world, and that this partnership will help shine light to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to participate.
Excellent. Well, we're very excited, and thank you so much for your time, Pastor Carroll. And now back to Andreas.
Thanks, Ali, and thanks, Pastor Carroll. So great to reconnect here. And so, yeah, the third pillar of our work, as we mentioned earlier, is educate. And as I mentioned, this is really about how can we raise awareness about sustainability, clean energy, and climate justice at the community level, so that people know that these solutions are here, that they can benefit them, and that they are accessible. And the way that we do that is through events, it's through storytelling, through social media, through our solar ambassadors write press releases and get the local stories covered in the news. Oftentimes our projects are featured on TV, on the local news channel, in parts of the country, particularly where solar is not very common. So to help us understand a little bit more how exciting and how important this piece of the work is, we're really excited to have a few words here with Bill McKibben, founder of 350.org. Unfortunately, Bill couldn't be here in person, so we pre-recorded this video conversation a few days ago, but again, really grateful for Bill. For those of you that don't know, Bill McKibben is founder of 350.org, arguably one of the most well-known activists, climate activists of our time. And we were really happy to be able to have him join us here. Thank you so much, Bill McKibben, for joining us here today to celebrate RE-volv's 10-year anniversary. It's such an honor to have you.
A decade has been enough to demonstrate what a good idea it is. And such congratulations to everybody on your team, and such thanks for all that good work.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. In your book, Falter, you talk about two technologies that can help us right the ship, so to speak, the solar panel and the nonviolent movement. And I wonder if you could tell us a bit more about what that means to you and how you see that playing out since you wrote the book.
Sure, thanks. So yeah, I think the two great inventions probably of the 20th century will turn out to have been the solar panel and this kind of new technology of how you make social change that people like Gandhi and the suffragists and Dr. King and others worked out. And they complement each other, because in order to get those solar panels installed in time to matter about climate change, we're going to have to be able to upend some of the power relationships on this planet. The vested interest of the fossil fuel industry in keeping their business plan more or less intact for as long as possible is now the greatest threat to the future of life on the planet. And so it's been, one of the things that we've done over the last decade or two, all of us together, is build these big effective movements that are starting to counterbalance the power of what was the richest industry on earth.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Do you see there being an opportunity to bring people back together around caring for the environment, or at least moving forward with clean energy?
Now we understand that this is the cheapest form of power on planet Earth. Not only does it not destroy the planet, is that it may allow us to not skip over, because that won't happen, but to diffuse a little bit some of the crazy partisan nonsense that's crept into all of this. As you know, when we ask people whether or not they like solar panels, when pollsters ask them, well, it turns out Republicans and independents and Democrats like them in about the same large proportions. We should take full advantage of this technological gift, because it's really the only break we've caught in the whole climate fight so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And my next question would be, from our very early days when we first started RE-volv and we first started doing our crowdfunding campaigns to raise money for, small solar projects on, these tiny nonprofits, which would then support a growing revolving fund. You were very supportive from the very beginning. You would help promote our work, tweet about it, etc. So just curious, what inspired you to help us, especially small nonprofit really benefits from that, and continue to support us to this day?
Well, so lots of things, including the fact that you guys are obviously good at this, which is, important. Vision is one thing, execution another, and good on you all. But I've always just thought that the basic idea was very sound. Good thing about it is that people can see it. Like if you go by a church or a nonprofit or something, and you have no idea like what's in the basement, what, how they power that, none of that. It's all out of sight, out of mind. But if there's a solar panel on the roof, then it's clear what's going on, and you're right, that emulation is a really important part of this now. We have to make this such the obvious part of daily life that people are left wondering, well, why am I not doing this? Like, why am I leaving all that? Why am I wasting all that sunlight every day? When these people over here were smart enough to collect it. So because you're almost by definition involved with institutions and probably in that case buildings that people love and care about, it's huge value for money to get those places on the right track.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Thank you for that. What words of advice do you have for our audience today about how we might take advantage and make the most of this critical decade in the climate fight?
Organize, organize, organize. Because trust me, the other side is well organized. We need everybody piled in here because it's the biggest task we've ever undertaken. And the thing to remember is, unlike the other political challenge we face, this one's a timed test. If we don't get it right soon, then we will never get it right.
Yeah, we're so honored to have you here, Bill. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for supporting our work for all these years. Really appreciate it.
Great pleasure, friend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Andreas. Really great to hear his wise words and support for RE-volv. So, all right. And from there, we're going to have a conversation with Francesca Vietor of the San Francisco Foundation. So back when RE-volv was just an idea and had no proof of concept, and we were sort of a dream, Andreas's dream, Francesca helped put real support behind the organization through the San Francisco Foundation, and who gave us our first grant, really. So we're really grateful that you're here with us, Francesca, and that you've supported us all these years. And I'd love to ask you a few questions. So the first question is, back when we first approached you at the San Francisco Foundation, before we had done any projects and we were just an idea, what made you want to invest in our mission?
Well, first of all, congratulations, RE-volv, on 10 years. I've been at the San Francisco Foundation almost 11 years. So when I came to the foundation, I was charged with developing a climate change logic model, or at least some strategies to figure out how we were going to address the emerging climate crisis, and to launch an open RFP process, request for proposals, for organizations out there, nonprofits out there, that were doing the most innovative, creative thinking on how to really affect change. And we had a lot of criteria, and it's so interesting to hear about the 3 pillars that have emerged, because those were really some of the values that we held closely at the San Francisco Foundation. We needed to find organizations that knew how to engage, that were going to educate, and we were going to figure out how to invest in those organizations. A little bit of a different strategy because we were coming from philanthropy, and I don't think it was quite baked at RE-volv in those days. But I remember when we received RE-volv's proposal, and it was really just Andreas, I think. Maybe you had one other person that was helping out, advising you. It was a pretty immediate response from my team when we saw the creative, entrepreneurial aspect and thinking behind what RE-volv was proposing, that we took a second look. And I also want to say that some of the things that Bill McKibben was really talking about around upending the power structure, looking at new economic models, figuring out what new innovations were coming online that could really change the dynamic. And here was Andreas talking about crowdfunding, right? Kind of a new concept at the time, talking about a revolving fund that would actually put money and savings back into the pockets of nonprofits. And that was sort of a whole new concept, really talking about solar power as a viable alternative to fossil fuel and extractive economy. I mean, it seems like it's been around for a while, but 10 years ago, this was all a relatively new conversation. So when RE-volv's proposal came across my desk and came into the San Francisco Foundation, it was a pretty interesting concept. And we love to take risks at the foundation. We love to find the small organizations that have a brilliant idea that, again, is partly idea, but that has the great potential for execution. And that was really how we decided to invest early on in RE-volv's work.
Well, thank you for taking that risk and for seeing the potential. Look at where we are now. So if, 10 years later, seeing where we are and the impact we've had, do you feel like it was a good investment?
I tried to run some numbers. I'm not really very good at math, but I think it was a $25,000 grant. And 10 years later, we're talking about $10 million worth of projects, $20 million worth of savings. And even if you put that $20 million aside, what I kind of calculated as far as return on investment, ROI, is about 400 times. So if we look at the next 10 years, and we're talking 10 million now, talking about $4 billion. Now, I know it's aspirational, but again, echoing Bill McKibben, that's the kind of investment it's going to take. And it's not just the money, it's the movement building, it's the community engagement, it's prioritizing BIPOC community, it's all the things that RE-volv is talking about. So I'm like a huge fan and big believer that this is just like that money is all going to compound. And it's going to be the next 10 years where RE-volv is going to be a real key player in shifting that economic structure. So that money is then going into community and into the non-extractive economy.
That's beautiful, Francesca. I really appreciate how you've painted that picture. And that's a pretty big ROI. That's really exciting.
There's one other piece too I just wanted to add is one of the things that I've been really impressed by, especially just hearing the update tonight of the 10-year impact, is just how RE-volv has stayed relevant, right? 10 years ago, crowdfunding was sort of the cutting edge, the bleeding edge, the learning edge, really. Like, can you really get $5, $10, $50 donations and create a fund that then creates more solar, more projects, more community engagement? And now RE-volv is talking about impact investing. There's social bonds out there. There's all this new language. There's cooperative models. There's different structures that are emerging that RE-volv is talking about. So I just wanted to bring into the conversation this relevancy question and how impressed I am by RE-volv staying relevant with what's new, what's possible, what can happen next for the organization and for our communities.
Really appreciate that. I mean, our name is RE-volv, but we also do a lot to evolve and are always evolving as an organization. So we appreciate being seen and kind of your reflection on some of the ideas we're hoping to pursue with our small but mighty team. And with that, I just wanted to ask if there was anything else you wanted to share. I mean, you've already said so much, but any other thoughts you wanted to share with this group before we pass it back to Andreas?
Well, I was, very impressed by the past support that RE-volv has received. I mean, it was really great to see all those foundations, individuals, institutions that have invested. And I know that the kind of impact investing field, the power purchase agreement direction is all opportunity to invest in RE-volv. And I would just ask if anybody has the resources or the willingness on this call to continue to make that investment and to donate. I mean, when you see an ROI like that, both as somebody who wants to support nonprofits, as somebody who wants to address the climate crisis, as somebody who wants to invest in community, I mean, I don't think there's a better investment out there. So 'tis the season, dig deep, give if you can. RE-volv is an amazing organization, and I just want to put a little pitch in there for continued support of RE-volv.
Thank you so much, Francesca. Those are really kind words and really appreciated. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you. Thank you for your time and for joining us tonight.
Of course.
And all these years.
Yes, I thank you. I'll echo that. Francesca, it's so nice to, to have initially, met you many years ago, and for you to take that chance on us and to reflect back now, a decade later. Yeah, really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And lastly, we're going to get towards the end here, and then we'll be able to, hang out and celebrate a little bit. And, actually there was, this is kind of a nice segue, Francesca talked about, what do the next 10 years look like? And, here we were talking earlier and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe we shoot for, 10x our current impact. So we shoot for, $100 million invested, and Francesca's pushing us to think bigger, go for 4 billion. So I like that. We're going to think big. We're going to shoot for the stars, because ultimately, as Bill McKibben mentioned, this is a time test, right? This is the decade, the critical decade that we have in order to accelerate the clean energy transition, to make sure that it's equitable, to make sure that it's accessible for everybody. And that's really what RE-volv is working on. So we really do encourage you to get involved. If you appreciated the work that we are highlighting here, that we've been doing, you can see that this is a small team, and we're really, I think, boxing above our weight class, so to speak. I think we really do have an outsized impact, for the size of our organization. And so there are a number of ways that you can get involved. Certainly, and of course, many of you here are already. We have a number of our sponsors here who sponsored this event and the 10-year report, as well as many of you who are monthly donors and ongoing supporters. But if you're not, certainly would encourage you to consider becoming a monthly donor. This is, a really easy way to get involved. Could be as small as, what you would pay for a cup of coffee. If you donate that to RE-volv once a month, that could really have a large impact for us. And also, as I mentioned, for those of you that are affiliated with a foundation, or perhaps have a donor advised fund, or even are an individual who's interested in impact investing, please get in touch with us. We would love to talk with you. This is the new model moving forward that's going to allow us to scale and build more projects for more communities in a broader geographic area. You can, the website there, revolve.org, and our email, you could at info@revolve.org. Feel free to get in touch with us and find out more about our impact investment opportunities on our website. Lastly, or second to last, I should say, you can become a solar ambassador. It's not as challenging as it may seem. Anybody who has a relationship to a local nonprofit, maybe it's your house of worship, or a local school, a local homeless shelter that you volunteer at, a community center in your neighborhood, any nonprofit that you know of and you think could benefit from going solar. Allow us to train you on helping them do that. There's a short course that we will walk you through and really give you the tools, empower you, and perhaps maybe some of your friends to get involved, to spearhead a local solar project in your community and in your neighborhood, which, as we heard from Ali earlier, can be a very, very empowering and educational experience. And lastly, join our newsletter if you're not already on it. We want to keep you up to date on what we're doing. We also want to hear from you. Let us know what you and your friends are working on in the climate justice space, so that we can have a continued conversation. And again, thank you all, so much for coming and for supporting us for all these years, making this impact. I mean, it really, like I said earlier, none of this stuff happens without the tremendous team here. I mean, the staff, you can see, are so engaged and just so dedicated to this. The board of directors have been with us. Some of the board members here on the call have been with us since day one. Founding board members, particularly Paul Wapner, Jennifer Martin. We're founding board members and have been with us, from the very beginning. So yeah, it's just it's a beautiful moment for the organization. And I'm so glad that you all came here tonight and we get to share it together.
Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We're so honored to have your time and your presence and your participation and your support. If anyone wants to stick around and chat and mingle, feel free to hang out and unmute yourselves and say hello. Otherwise, that's our program for this evening, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much.